on Christmas.
Okay, so it's day 24 of the war on Christmas, and today I'm going to be honest with you guys. The real reason why I don't do Christmas, and therefore try to poke holes in it and find most of it annoying. The reason is sort of threefold, I guess. Maybe two, maybe three, depends on how the explanation works. So first of all, I'm not religious. I was basically an atheist from birth, as in religion was never mentioned in my house. I didn't know that I was an atheist until I went to school and people weren't. To the point where once I came home from school and asked my parents, "Mum, are we Muslims?" I didn't know. I knew some people who were, and I thought that was a thing that people did, and I wasn't aware of anything, so I just asked. But no, I guess the origins of my family atheism come from my mum's side. Her father grew up in Dublin and was abused by priests at his boarding school, which I guess was de rigueur at the time. That, combined with the fact that he grew up to become quite big in the British Communist Party, meant religion wasn't his sort of thing. So my mum wasn't religious either. That never came up in her house. So I guess I'm a third generation atheist in that sense. Then on my dad's side, he's a Latin Protestant from Northern Ireland, which doesn't really chime well with a Dublin communist. So getting the family together was not easy until the early 2000s-ish. There were times where, like, my uncle in Belfast would not visit us when we lived in Dublin because he wouldn't enter the Free State. So that made things more difficult. So there's no tradition of the sort of religious side of things, and that can make it quite hard to justify the expense of things when you don't believe in the thing that it's about. So for that reason, it was quite easy, I think, to drop out of our lives. Obviously, the other thing was due to living in England for a bit, most of the time, I guess, and all the family being either in South or North of Ireland, you wouldn't see people very often. So it was made it very difficult to visit people, and there was an expense involved in that. But I guess the big reason is my brother. Now, if anyone follows me on Twitter, you'll have seen, especially I posted it yesterday, stuff about my brother. He has severe autism, and this has made things difficult. Not only does this mean he doesn't travel very well or function particularly well in other people's houses, it also means it's very hard to get to sort of sit still, especially for certain years when he started to grow. It became, that sounds a stupid thing to say, I don't think people start growing when they're born, but when he got sort of between 12 and 16, where it took two people to look after him, that made it difficult to do any sort of intensive cooking or anything like that. So Christmas dinner stopped being a thing, and it just sort of became a group decision of, well, we don't really like this thing, we don't want to spend the money on it, and it's really, really hard because of our personal situation, so let's just not do it anymore. And that's why I don't do Christmas.